General Susan Bennett stood tall in the grand hall of the Draconis Imperium. The massive room was cold despite the hundreds of aliens watching from raised seats. Emperor Exalthrac sat on his black throne made of rare space metal. His 6 eyes stared down at the human woman. Susan kept her face calm. She had served Earth for 30 years, as the main speaker between humans and the Draconis Empire for the past 5 years. She knew these aliens well. Too well to show fear now. "You have crossed into our space too many times," said the Emperor. His voice boomed through special sound machines. "Your ships take our resources. Your people spy on our worlds." "That is not true," Susan said. Her voice was steady. "Earth has followed every rule in our peace papers. We have proof that all our ships stayed in allowed areas." The Emperor waved a clawed hand. "Lies. All humans lie." The crowd of aliens made angry noises. Susan looked around. She saw no friendly faces, only hate and hunger for blood. This was not a real court case. This was just for show. "I ask for time to bring proof," Susan said. "Let me call Earth. They can send the ship track records." "No more time," said the Emperor. "No more words from Earth." He stood up, his tall form casting a shadow over Susan. "You will die today as a message to all humans. They will learn to bow to the Draconis Imperium or be burned away from the stars." Susan felt cold inside, but did not let it show. She was a soldier first, even in her role as a speaker between worlds. She knew that cameras were rolling. The Emperor wanted Earth to see this. He wanted to scare humans into giving up. He did not know humans very well. Guards grabbed Susan's arms. Their grip was tight enough to bruise. They pulled her to the center of the room where a metal circle was built into the floor. They pushed her inside it. The Emperor pressed a button on his throne. A clear wall rose around Susan, trapping her in the circle. "Any last words, human?" the Emperor asked. "Perhaps you wish to beg." Susan stood straight. She looked right at the camera that would send her image to Earth. She knew what would happen next. She had seen other beings die this way during her time here. "Remember who we are," she said clearly. The Emperor pressed another button. Fire filled the clear tube. Not normal fire. This was much hotter. It was designed to burn slowly, to make death take longer. Susan Bennett did not scream. She did not beg. Even as her skin burned and her uniform turned to ash, she stood tall. She kept her eyes on the camera, on the link to home. She wanted Earth to see that she died with pride. In the command center on Earth, a room full of military leaders watched in horror. The large screen showed their friend and fellow leader dying in the worst way possible. Admiral John Miller gripped the edge of the table so hard his knuckles turned white. Next to him, General Frank Torres smashed his fist down. "They will pay for this," Torres whispered. On screen, Susan Bennett was still standing somehow. Her body was burning, but her eyes stayed open. Then she fell, and the fire covered her completely. The Emperor's face appeared on screen. "Let this be a lesson to Earth. Stay in your place or face more death." The screen went black. The room on Earth was silent for 10 long seconds. Then Admiral Miller spoke. "Call the Earth Council. All members. Now." His voice was ice cold. "The Draconis Imperium just started a war they cannot win." Outside the command center, Earth continued its day. People walked to work. Children played. No one yet knew that everything had changed. But soon they would all learn what the Draconis Imperium had done. And then the galaxy would learn what humans do when pushed too far. Admiral John Miller stood at the head of the round table in the United Earth Council chamber. His uniform was perfect, but his eyes showed he had not slept. The 12 council members sat in front of screens showing the same terrible video. General Susan Bennett burning alive. Miller waited until the video ended. Then he pressed a button and the screens went dark. "That was sent to us 6 hours ago," he said. His voice was flat but strong. "The Draconis Imperium killed our top diplomat. They meant to scare us." Council leader Mary Wilson wiped tears from her face. "Susan was my friend for 20 years. She was a friend to us all, Miller said. Now we must decide what to do. Sam Lee, the East Asia Council member, spoke up. We should try to talk first. Maybe this was just the Emperor acting crazy. Maybe his people do not all feel the same. No, said Miller. He touched another button. New images filled the screens. Spaceships, weapons, alien soldiers training. Our spies got these pictures over the last year. The Draconis have been getting ready for war. They just needed a reason to start it. So the border crossing claims were fake? Asked Hector Diaz, the South American member. Miller nodded. All fake. They wanted to make us look bad to other aliens. They killed Susan to see what we would do. If we do nothing, they will attack us next. The room was quiet. These 12 people spoke for all humans on Earth and the space colonies. What they decided today would change everything. What are our chances if we fight? Asked Karen Wright, the African member. The Draconis have more ships and more worlds than us. Miller waved to a woman sitting in the corner. This is Dr. Laura Jones, our top alien expert. She will explain. Dr. Jones stood up. She looked tired too. The Draconis have ruled space for 1,000 years. They think they cannot lose. This makes them proud and lazy. She showed a map of stars on the big screen. They have many worlds, but most are just for show. They have 20 main planets that matter. If we hit those, we can win. But their ships, Sam Lee said. They have 5 times more ships than us. Old ships, Dr. Jones said. They have not had a real war in 300 years. Our ships are newer and better. Our soldiers train more. And we have something they do not understand. What's that? Asked Mary Wilson. Anger, said Admiral Miller. They killed one of us in the worst way possible. They thought we would give up. Instead, every human who sees that video will want to fight. As if to prove his point, Miller's phone beeped. He looked at it. 5 million people have joined the Space Force since the video went public 3 hours ago, he said. Earth is ready to fight. The council members looked at each other. They had all been elected to keep peace. War was a big step. If we vote for war, Mary Wilson said, how many will die? Many, Miller said honestly. But if we do nothing, we all die. The Draconis will not stop with Susan. They want our worlds. They see us as bugs to step on. Mary Wilson stood up. I call for a vote. All in favor of declaring total war against the Draconis Imperium, raise your hand. One by one, hands went up. Some fast, some slow. But in the end, all 12 hands were raised. It is done, said Mary. God help us all. Miller nodded and left the room. In the hall, his assistant waited. Send the order, Miller said. All ships attack. All targets we talked about. And send the message to the Draconis Imperium. What message, sir? Asked the assistant. Miller's eyes were cold. Remember who we are. Across Earth, regular TV shows stopped. The news showed ships leaving Earth. People gathered in streets, in homes, in bars. Some cried. Some cheered. All watched as humanity went to war for the first time as one people. The first human battleships entered Draconis space before the day ended. They did not come in peace. Captain Lisa Howard stood on the bridge of the UES Valiant. The large ship moved fast through space with 4 other battleships following close behind. Their mission was clear: hit the Draconis Empire hard and fast. 5 minutes until we reached the first target, said Pete Davis, her second in command. His face was grim as he checked the ship screens. All crews ready? Lisa asked. Yes, Captain. All weapons hot. All fighters ready to launch. Lisa looked at the main screen. It showed a Draconis military base built on a small moon. The base had many weapons, and 3 enemy ships docked there. The aliens did not know humans were coming. Remember our orders, Lisa said to her crew. No mercy. No prisoners. We hit them with everything we have. The crew nodded. Everyone on the ship had watched General Bennett die. That video had changed them all. 2 minutes, Pete said. Lisa touched a button on her chair. This is Captain Howard to all ships. We are about to show the Draconis Empire what happens when they hurt one of ours. Fight well. Make Earth proud. The 5 human ships came out of jump space right next to the moon base. The aliens had only seconds to realize they were under attack. Fire all weapons, Lisa ordered. The human ships shot everything they had. Missiles, lasers, and special bombs rained down on the base. The 3 enemy ships tried to take off, but 2 were hit before they could move. The 3rd got into space, but was quickly surrounded by human fighter ships that tore it apart. On the moon, alien soldiers ran for their lives. Some tried to fight back. Their weapons hit the Valiant, making the ship shake. Damage report, Lisa called out. Shields at 85%. Pete said. Nothing serious. Keep firing, Lisa ordered. I want that base gone. The attack lasted just 10 minutes. When it was done, nothing was left of the base but burning ruins. No alien ships escaped to warn others. Set course for Target 2, Lisa said. Her face showed no joy at their win, only determination. As the ships jumped to their next target, Kevin Rodriguez, the intelligence officer, came to the bridge. He held a data pad. Captain, I've been studying the enemy messages we captured, he said. The Draconis don't know much about us. What do you mean? Lisa asked. They've only seen our trade ships and diplomat vessels, Kevin explained. They have no idea what our warships can do. They think we're weak because we've been peaceful. Lisa almost smiled. Good. Let them keep thinking that. The human strike force hit 4 more Draconis bases that day. Each attack was fast and total. No warnings, no chance to surrender, only complete destruction. On the Draconis homeworld, Emperor Xalthric received the news of the attacks with surprise. 5 bases gone. Impossible, he said to his war leader. The humans have never shown such strength before. It is true, Emperor, the war leader said, bowing low. All 5 bases were destroyed. No survivors. The Emperor waved a clawed hand. It is just a small reaction to the death of their general. They are angry now, but they will calm down. They must know they cannot win against us. What shall we do about these attacks? Asked the war leader. Nothing yet, said the Emperor. Let them waste their energy. In a few weeks, they will beg for peace. On the main screen in the Emperor's room, a map showed the 5 destroyed bases. They were all on the edge of Draconis space, far from important worlds. The Emperor did not know that the humans had already figured out which bases really mattered. The human ships were heading to those targets next. The massive Draconis battle fleet moved through space toward Mars colony. 500 ships, led by 3 huge war cruisers, flew in perfect lines. Their weapons glowed, ready to fire. The Emperor had finally decided to stop the human attacks by hitting one of their main colonies. The humans will learn their place today, said Fleet Commander Zerkal to his officers. Mars has 10 million humans. When we destroy it, Earth will beg for peace. The Draconis ships came out of jump space near Mars. The red planet looked peaceful. The fleet commander smiled with his sharp teeth. No defense ships, he said. The humans are fools. Begin the attack run. The fleet moved closer to Mars. Then strange things began to happen. Small lights blinked on all around them. Hundreds of hidden space mines turned on at once. Mines, yelled a Draconis officer. They're everywhere. Before the fleet could change course, the mines exploded. 30 Draconis ships were destroyed in seconds. Then, from behind Mars's 2 small moons, human battleships appeared. Not a few ships, but 200 of them. They had been hiding, waiting. On the lead human ship, Admiral Patricia Garcia watched the Draconis fleet with cold eyes. They took the bait, she said to her crew. Begin attack pattern Delta. No mercy. The human ships moved fast, shooting from all sides at once. They did not fight like the Draconis expected. Instead of staying in neat lines, the human ships flew in what looked like a crazy pattern. But it was not crazy. It was smart. The Draconis could not predict where they would go next. "What is happening?" Fleet Commander Zerkel shouted as his ships exploded around him. "Fight back. Destroy them." The Draconis ships tried to fight, but they were confused. More mines exploded among them. Then another surprise came. From the surface of Mars, huge guns fired up into space. These planet guns hit the biggest Draconis ships. Admiral Garcia's voice came over all human ship speakers. "For General Bennett, for Earth, push them back to their dying empire." The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, only 50 Draconis ships escaped back to their space. 350 were destroyed. The humans lost just 28 ships. On his throne world, Emperor Gzalthrek received the news with shock. "Impossible," he said. "No one defeats a main Draconis fleet. No one." His war council looked scared. One old general spoke up. "Emperor, we have not faced a real enemy in 300 years. We have grown soft while others have grown strong." "Silence," the Emperor shouted. "The humans just got lucky. They will not win again." He turned to his best general, a scared warrior named Vorshak. "Take our biggest fleet. Crush the humans. Show no mercy." General Vorshak bowed. "Yes, Emperor. I will not fail." As Vorshak left to prepare his ships, the Emperor's advisor whispered to him, "My lord, something strange is happening. Many worlds in our empire are getting human messages." "What messages?" the Emperor asked. The advisor looked nervous. "They are showing the death of General Bennett to all our subject species. Some of those species are talking about fighting against us now." The Emperor smashed his fist on his throne. "Find those messages. Stop them. And bring me the head of whoever leads the human fleet." Meanwhile, Admiral Garcia's ships were not returning to Earth. Instead, they pushed deeper into Draconis space. At each world they passed, they'd broadcast the same message. "The Draconis Empire is weak. They killed our diplomat. Now we will free you from their rule. Join us or stay out of our way." On many worlds, alien species that had been ruled by the Draconis for centuries watched the human ships defeat the empire that had always seemed unbeatable. Some began to wonder if it was time for a change. The real war was just beginning. Dr. Alan Wright did not look up when the door to his lab opened. He was too busy looking at the strange piece of metal floating in a clear box. The metal glowed blue and seemed to move on its own. "Dr. Wright, how is the project going?" asked Captain Steve Daniels. Alan finally looked up. His eyes were red from not sleeping for 2 days. "It's working. We did it." The lad was on the research ship UES Breakthrough, which followed behind the main battle fleets. Their job was to study Draconis technology and find ways to beat it. "You found a way through their shields?" Steve asked. Alan nodded and pointed to a screen showing numbers and lines. "Their shields work by making a field that pushes all energy away, but there's a small problem in how they make the field." He pointed to a wavy line on the screen. "See this? At this exact point, the shield has a tiny weak spot. Our normal weapons can't find it, but this new weapon can." Alan walked to a large gun sitting on the lab table. It looked different from normal human weapons. Parts of it glowed like the metal in the box. "We mixed our technology with theirs," Alan said. "This gun shoots a special beam that can find the weak spot in their shields. Once it makes a hole, our normal weapons can get through too." Steve whistled. "How many of these can we make?" "We sent the plans to Earth 2 hours ago. They're building them now. Every ship will have at least one in a week." Steve smiled. "The Draconis won't know what hit them." On the other side of Draconis space, Commander Olivia Martinez and her small team moved through a dark hallway. They wore black suits that helped them blend into shadows. They were inside the main Draconis communication center, a huge building on a planet called Nexus 7. "How much farther?" whispered Carl, one of her team members. Just ahead, Olivia said. The main computer room should be around this corner. They had snuck onto the planet 3 days ago in a small ship with no markings. Their mission was simple but dangerous: plant a virus in the Draconis communication system. 2 guards stood outside the computer room door. Olivia nodded to her team. They moved fast, using stun guns that made no noise. The guards fell without a sound. Inside the room, huge machines filled the space. Lights blinked everywhere. This was the heart of how the Draconis sent messages across their empire. "Watch the door," Olivia told 2 of her team. To the others, she said, "Start planting the devices. We have 5 minutes before the next guard check." The team worked fast, placing small black boxes on different machines. These boxes had the virus inside. It would not destroy the communication system. It would do something much worse. "Done," said Carl after 4 minutes. "All set." Olivia checked her watch. "Activate in 3, 2, 1. She pressed a button on her wrist computer. The black boxes lit up for a second, then went dark again as they merged with the Draconis machines. "Let's go," she said. "Our ride leaves in 20 minutes." They left as quietly as they came. No alarms went off. No one saw them. 6 hours later, across the Draconis Empire, every screen on every planet suddenly changed. The regular shows and messages disappeared. In their place was a video of General Susan Bennett standing tall as the Emperor sentenced her to death. Then came the fire, the burning, and her final words: "Remember who we are." The video played over and over. No one could turn it off. Every Draconis citizen, and every species they ruled, watched a human die with dignity. On subject worlds where people had feared the Draconis for generations, something changed that day. They saw that someone was fighting back. They saw that the great empire was not winning. They began to hope. In his palace, Emperor Azalthrek screamed in rage as the video played on every screen around him. For the first time in his long life, he felt afraid. The Centauri Nexus was the most important space station in this part of the galaxy. It controlled the jump gates to 7 star systems. Whoever held the Nexus controlled travel to 1/4 of the Draconis Empire. Now it was the center of the biggest space battle anyone had ever seen. General William Cooper stood on the bridge of the UES Freedom, the largest human battleship ever built. Around him, officers worked at their stations, sending orders to the fleet. Outside the ship's windows, hundreds of human vessels fought against almost 1,000 Draconis ships. "Status report," William said calmly. "We've lost 23 ships," said his second-in-command, Linda Green. "The Draconis have lost 94. The new shield-breaker weapons are working." William nodded. For 3 days now, they had been fighting for control of the Nexus. The huge space station hung in the middle of the battle, its lights still glowing as ships exploded around it. "What about the ground teams?" William asked. Linda checked her screen. "They've taken the lower levels of the station, but they're stuck. The Draconis have heavy weapons at all the main doorways to the upper levels." William thought for a moment. Then he said, "Tell the fleet to press harder on the right side. I want all Draconis ships to think we're trying to break through there." "Yes, sir," Linda said. "But aren't we trying to break through there?" William almost smiled. "No, that's what they expect. Get me a small ship ready. I'm going to the station myself." 30 minutes later, William led a team of 20 soldiers in a small transport ship. While the main battle raged on the right side of the Nexus, his ship approached from the left, where the fighting was lighter. "They won't expect us to send our main general into the fight," William told his team. "That's why it will work." The small ship docked at a service entrance on the side of the Nexus. Alarms were blaring, but no guards came to meet them. Everyone was fighting elsewhere. "Move fast," William ordered. "We need to reach the control room." They ran through empty hallways, climbing up through the station. When they met Draconis soldiers, they fought quickly and moved on. William led from the front, his gun never missing. On the other side of the station, the main human ground force suddenly pushed harder. The Draconis troops rushed to stop them. They didn't notice the small team coming from behind until it was too late. William and his soldiers reached the door to the main control room. 20 Draconis guards stood ready, their weapons pointed at the main door. Back entrance, William whispered to his team, pointing to a small service panel in the wall. 2 soldiers opened the panel. One by one, they crawled through the tight space. They came out inside the control room, behind the Draconis guards. The fight was short. The Draconis never had a chance to call for help. William walked to the main control panel and pressed his hand to the screen. The codes that human spies had stolen months ago worked perfectly. The entire station came under his control. "This is General Cooper," he said into the station's speaker system. "The Centauri Nexus is now under human control. All Draconis forces surrender or be destroyed." Outside, the space battle changed. The human fleet, which had been holding back, now attacked with full force. The Draconis ships, confused by the loss of the station, broke formation. Many tried to escape. Few made it. The battle for Centauri Nexus lasted 9 days in total. When it ended, the Draconis had lost control of 7 star systems in a single defeat. Hundreds of planets were now open to human forces. On Earth, Admiral Miller looked at the map of the war. Almost 1/4 of the Draconis Empire was now under human control. He made a note on his pad. "Recommend General Cooper for highest honor when he returns, if he returns." The path to the Draconis homeworld was now open. The final battle would come soon. Emperor Xalthrak stood in his war room, looking at a large map of his empire. 1/4 of it now glowed red, showing areas under human control. His advisors stood back, afraid to get too close to him. The Emperor had killed 3 advisors yesterday in his anger. "They are moving too fast," he hissed. "No one has ever taken so much of our space in such a short time." His oldest advisor, Jormak, stepped forward. "Emperor, we must consider making peace with the humans." The Emperor turned, his 6 eyes glowing with rage. "Never. I will not bow to a lesser species." "Then perhaps we should use the planet killers," said Jormak. "We have 5 ready. We could destroy their main colonies." The Emperor was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "Yes, prepare the planet killers. Target their colonies at Mars, Europa, Titan, Alpha Centauri, and Proxima b. When their people die by the millions, they will lose heart." What the Emperor didn't know was that he had a spy in his palace. Nicole Reeves had been living as a palace cleaner for months. She looked like a Draconis because of special surgery and skin color drugs. She heard every word the Emperor said as she pretended to clean nearby. When her shift ended, she went to her small room in the worker area of the palace. She took out a small device hidden in her shoe and sent a message to the human fleet. "Emperor plans to use planet killers on 5 main colonies. Targets are Mars, Europa, Titan, Alpha Centauri, and Proxima b. Weapons being prepared now." The message traveled through hidden relay points until it reached Admiral Miller on Earth. He read it with a grim face. "Get me General Cooper and Admiral Garcia immediately," he ordered. Within an hour, the Human War Council was meeting via secure video. "We need to move fast," Miller said. "Our spy reports the Draconis are sending planet killers to 5 of our colonies. Millions of our people are at risk. I can intercept the ones headed to Mars and Europa." Admiral Garcia said, "My fleet is closest." "I'll take Titan and Alpha Centauri," General Cooper said. "But I don't have ships close enough to reach Proxima b in time." Admiral Miller nodded. "I'll send the home fleet to Proxima b. But that leaves us with another problem. With our fleets divided to stop these attacks, we can't move on the Draconis homeworld." The room was quiet. Then a young officer spoke up. "Sir, what about Operation Remembrance?" "It's ready." Miller looked at the officer. "Lieutenant Commander Eric Foster, right? You've been working on the stealth mission." "Yes, sir," Eric said. My team can slip past their defenses and disable the planetary shields around Draconis Prime. Once the shields are down, even a small fleet could strike at the palace. Miller thought for a moment. Then he made his decision. Admiral Garcia, General Cooper, stop those planet killers at all costs. Foster, your team has green light for Operation Remembrance. The rest of us will divide our forces. Some will protect our worlds. Others will prepare to hit Draconis Prime the moment those shields come down. As the meeting ended, Miller looked at the picture of General Bennett on his wall. "We're almost there, Susan," he whispered. "Almost there." On Draconis Prime, Nickel continued her work as a spy. She found the plans for the palace defense systems and sent them to Eric's team. The information would help them get past the security when they arrived. Meanwhile, 5 huge Draconis ships left their hidden bases, each carrying a weapon that could destroy a planet. They moved slowly through space, their crews confident in their secret mission. They didn't know that human fleets were already moving to intercept them, and that a small stealth ship with Lieutenant Commander Foster and his team was slipping past the outer defenses of Draconis Prime. The final stage of the war had begun. Admiral John Miller walked slowly into the obsidian throne room on Draconis Prime, the room where General Susan Bennett had been sentenced to death 3 months ago. Human soldiers stood guard at every door. The black walls still showed burn marks from the fighting. The war had ended 2 days ago, when Lieutenant Commander Foster's team had succeeded in bringing down the planetary shields. The human fleet, though smaller than expected because many ships were busy defending colonies from planet killers, had still overwhelmed the palace defenses. Emperor Xalthrak knelt in the center of the room, in the same metal circle where Susan Bennett had died. Imperial guards lay dead around the room. The Emperor's fine robes were torn and dirty. "Is this where you burn me alive?" the Emperor asked, his voice still proud despite his defeat. "An eye for an eye, as you humans say." Miller stopped in front of him. "We considered it. Many of my people wanted you to die the same way General Bennett did." The Emperor raised his head. "Then do it. I am not afraid to die." Miller looked at the alien ruler who had caused so much death. "That's the difference between us. We don't burn people alive, even our worst enemies." He turned to his officers. "Take him to the ship. He will stand trial before the new Galactic Tribunal, not just for killing General Bennett, but for crimes against all the species he has hurt over the centuries." The soldiers led the Emperor away. He seemed surprised to still be alive. Miller walked to the black throne and looked at it for a long moment. Then he nodded to a soldier. "Destroy it. This room will become a memorial to all who died because of the Empire's cruelty." 1 year later, Miller stood in the same space, but it was completely changed. The black walls were gone, replaced with light stone. The throne was gone too. In its place stood a statue of General Susan Bennett, standing tall and proud. Around Miller stood representatives from 26 different alien species. Some had been part of the Draconis Empire for centuries. Others had been fighting it from the shadows. All were now free. "Today we create something new," Miller said to the gathered aliens. "Not an empire built on fear, but a confederation built on respect. Each world will rule itself. Together we will defend each other from anyone who tries to rule through force." "And what of the Draconis?" asked a tall, blue-skinned alien. "Many want revenge against them." "The leaders who committed crimes have faced justice," Miller said. "The Draconis people are welcome to join us, as equals, not as rulers. That is the true test of whether we are better than what came before." The alien representatives nodded. One by one, they stepped forward to sign the new agreement. The Galactic Confederation was born. After the ceremony, Miller stood alone, looking up at Bennett's statue. At the base were her final words, "Remember who we are." An aide approached him. "Sir, Earth is calling. They want to know when you're coming home." Miller nodded. "Tell them soon. There's still work to do here, but the hard part is done." "Was it worth it?" the aide asked. "All the fighting, all the lives lost. Miller thought of the billions now free from Draconic rule, the end of the executions, the slave labor, the fear. Susan would think so, he said. She believed that standing up to bullies was always right, no matter the cost. And now her death has freed half the galaxy. Miller touched the base of the statue gently. We remembered who we are, and it turned out to be enough. He turned and walked out into the sunlight, where representatives of the new Confederation were talking, planning, building something that had never existed before. The war was over. The healing had begun.